So, yes, we are now on camera. Good evening, everybody. Huge shout out to those who are tuning in on the YouTube replay, or maybe you're tuning in on the Facebook replay, or maybe you're listening on Spotify, or you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, or God knows where else you can get the replay for this. It's Monday night. It's 3 minutes past 9. It's the 12th of... I'm well ahead of myself. I know said the 17th. It's not. It's the 12th of August, 2019. Start of a brand new week. Anything could happen this week, as I say all the time, in your acting career. And I'll tell you a little story, something that's happened to me that's quite exciting. I won't go too much into it because I hate talking about stuff before it's happened. Don't you hate? I mean, I don't know if you've ever done this. I do see some actors sometimes. They'll get a hint of an opportunity, and then they'll write a Facebook post about it straight away, and it will be something really annoying because it'll say, "Oh, amazing news! Wish I could tell everyone." And you're like, why are you writing it then? If you can't tell us actually what it is, just don't write it. Just don't tell us what it is. That would probably be better. So I hate talking about stuff before it's happened, but I will, hopefully to inspire you guys, let you in onto something that's pretty cool that's happening this week for me, which came completely out of the blue. It shows how your career really can change very, very quickly overnight without you even, expecting an opportunity to come along. Jill Trevelyan, the casting director for Downton Abbey, said something to me once that has stuck in my head for about 7 years. And she said, listen, if you believe, this goes out to every actor watching this, if you believe you have something to offer this industry and you really believe, you must believe you have something to offer. She said, listen, your time will come, but you just have to be patient. And I'm currently on year 21, right? I've been waiting patiently in this industry for a break, for like a big break, for 21 years. That potentially could be 2 days away, and I'll tell you a little bit about that on tonight's broadcast. So let me know what else is going down for you guys in the community. Dale's just joined, Bess is here, Marek's here. How you doing, mate? Great to see you. Hi Ross, good evening, mate. Is it Mihal? How do I say your name, man? I've been talking to you on Instagram, mate. We've been having good chats. Let me know phonetically how you say your name. Mihal? Let me know, man. Joe's here, Bobby's here, Jill McVeigh's in the house. Caitlin said I passed my driving theory test. It's not a massive thing, but it's still an achievement. It is. Caitlin, my eyes, literally, I'm partially sighted, right? Visually impaired, that's legit. I don't mean I can just not see very well. I'm not allowed legally to drive by the DVLA. I have no peripheral vision. So the fact that, honestly, anyone who can drive on here, I bow down to you. When I'm in a car with someone, this sounds like such a stupid little thing, but when someone I'm in a car with reverses into a parking space, I am in absolute awe, honestly, of the spatial awareness that you must have in order to do that. And I know everyone else on here, unless you're visually impaired, is probably taking that for granted in your life right now. Please don't take that for granted, because I would love to be able to do it. I think it's absolutely amazing. So Caitlin, it is an achievement. You've passed your theory, let's pass your practical, and then you can drive yourself to all those auditions. Ben Lawson, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Ruben's here. Rach has just jumped on. All right, Shents. Steve Wayne is in the house. Dougal Ram, great to see you, mate. Mail says it's a start, Caitlin. Well done, halfway there. You are, exactly. Lucy's here. Everybody's bloody joining. This is awesome. So I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I want to acknowledge something that's really sad, but I don't want to cry about it because I spent all last week crying about it. Eric James Dean, one of the most loyal, shining beacons of light in the Acts on This community. He basically was an actor, very close friend of mine, supported actsonthis.tv from day one, almost day one, basically. Would, come to me, come to every event where I promoted Acts on This. He would come with me. He'd get a t-shirt on at a minute's notice, to basically just go and accost actors and go, come and get involved with the community, come and sign up. He came for the first 6 months of the Acts on This TV meetups that I do every first Saturday of the month in Manchester. They're now done in London as well. We've got a group in London who do that as well. Get involved with those first Saturday of every month. Really, really supportive, in-person meetup that we do, completely free. Anyone could come down. You don't have to be a member of the website. You just have to buy yourself a coffee. Eric would be literally for the first 6 months, he was the only guy who turned up literally, it'd either be me sat in the corner house on my own until Eric started coming, and then it'd be me and Eric for about 6 months. The odd person would drop in. Nowadays, we get 40 people there in Manchester. It's got to the point where we're probably gonna have to get a room, so to speak, in home theatre where we host them in Manchester now. Back in the day, it was literally me and Eric. The guy was just an absolute rock. You probably heard me reporting on him. He had a short illness for the last couple of weeks. I thought he was going to pull through. We were super optimistic last week. I remember on last week's broadcast, I was like, listen, he's breathing for himself again. Fingers crossed. Everybody send the positive vibes out. Got the phone call that I really didn't want to get on Wednesday. Unfortunately, we lost Eric on Wednesday night last week. Real blow to me personally, but I think for the community as well. I'm going to put a picture of him up as a little tribute. There's EJD. I don't know what he was doing there. That looks like a film shoot. I've no idea what what that was on. Looks like the guys in the background are doing something though. I don't know what is that. Is that like a light stand? I don't know. Don't know where that was. It was probably on something to do with his acting career that he was doing. I've just realised. Just realised I probably didn't have my microphone on then when Eric's picture was up because I didn't. Did I? I don't know if I did. If I didn't, yeah, I don't know if Eric was on a film shoot there. But yeah, absolutely awesome guy. So many comments coming in from the community for him. It just makes you realise how, how short life is. He was only 67, like really young, for me, it's just like Eric was a guy who, even at 67 though, really didn't act like 67. Very young at heart. And what I really liked about Eric more than anything was his enthusiasm to get involved with stuff that he wasn't an expert at. So he would just be so enthusiastic about getting involved with anything in the acting industry, just to be involved, just to learn stuff. He wasn't really afraid of going for it, Eric. He'd just get involved with theatre groups, community theatre groups. He'd rock up at acting workshops, loads and loads of stuff. He'd be at every event in Manchester that people put on to do with theatre, basically. Always going to meet people, super warm. Really just supportive of the industry. And I think we can all learn a lot from that. Steve says, top man, sorely missed already. So sad, Ross says, Dawn, he was a beautiful person. No, he really was. And those who knew him, honestly, such an amazing guy. And yeah, it just made me just like, I just kind of like want to remind people like to follow in his footsteps and get involved in shit. If you are, one thing Eric didn't see was his age, and a lot of people email me all the time, particularly if they're a little bit older and they're entering the industry later on in life, maybe 50 plus, 60. Say Eric was 67. His mates I have in this industry though, John Dutton, 75, 76, something like that. Age, honest to God, please do not get hung up on your age. It is one of the biggest limiting beliefs I see holding actors back. Full stop. It's probably, it's probably the biggest. So I want to play a little video. Everybody knows that Gary Vee is a big influence in my life. If you don't follow Gary Vee on Instagram, he's an entrepreneur really, so a lot of his content is for business owners, but equally it's applicable, I think, for actors because we are our own businesses. Here's just a little video of Gary's on age and just not letting age like be an obstacle for you. It's only a couple of minutes long. I just want to play it because this has just been on my mind this week, particularly after losing Eric. I'm like, age is nothing but a number.
How old are you?
I'm 9. 13.
15 years old.
19.
21.
25.
25.
I'm 29.
29. 38.
40.
40.
42.
45.
And you're young as fuck.
I'm very fascinated about the people that turn 40 and what the 40-year mark means for so many. A lot of people reflect, a lot of people feel like that's the year that like, oh crap, I'm going on the other side of things. I'm just unbelievably fascinated.
You may look at some 19-year-old, I saw some 19-year-old earlier today, I'm like, fuck, that's young.
You can grind and be patient for 10 years every day and still be 9 years younger than me, and I would trade places with you. That's how amazing having time on your side is.
You are that young. You are that young for you to do something that makes you happy for the rest of your life.
Warren Buffett didn't start making real money until he was like 63.
Sidney Frank, who created Grey Goose, didn't invent his big thing until his 70s.
40 is not even halftime for the majority of you. For everybody who has too big of a mortgage, too much debt, too much responsibility, it's fascinating what the internet can do.
If you've got the right DNA and you're a 72-year-old female, you have just as good of a bat as a 27-year-old dude.
What the 26-year-old version of us doesn't realize is we're the exact same fucking dude in our heads right now than we were 16 years ago.
The 58-year-old right now that's watching this, you're gonna live another 40 years. 40 years of being able to do something you love is a big deal. Start putting in the work. Start recognizing this isn't just a young person's game. Making excuses, start getting educated in the actual world and start opening up the opportunities. You're still young as fuck. Flip the script. Take control of your fucking life and realize you have it all in front of you. You have a lot more time than you think.
Boom. Quick video of some real talk from Gary Vee. Yeah, he was saying, you might have literally decades left. I mean, obviously, people like Eric, you end up with a curveball thrown at you health-wise. You don't know, that you've got all the time in the world. But ultimately, live like you have. Live like, if everybody, I think the worst piece of advice people can give someone is live every day like it's your last. Because if I knew, right, today was my last, I'd probably just be running around crying. So don't live every day like it's your last. Squeeze the shit out of every day to get the most out of it. But also live optimistically, like, the chances are you are going to be here next week. So put the hustle in. Time is going to pass anyway. Don't think this acting industry game is so hard that, it's so difficult, I'm not going to bother. Time will just pass you by anyway. You might as well go for it ultimately. And that was something that Eric did. At the end of this broadcast tonight, I want to play a showreel scene. Well, a little spoofy little thing that Eric filmed once that I will remember him for. It's cool. It's very happy. And I think it'll make everybody laugh. So stick around for the end of the broadcast for that. What else do I want to talk about tonight? Well, ultimately, I mean, we're just going to throw it open. So this is just, we've not done like just an open Q&A for absolutely ages. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into that thing that I said came up for me in my career out of the blue. I'm not going to speak too soon before, don't count your chickens before they've hatched. But basically, that quote I said before about Jill, where she said, listen, if you think you've got something to offer the industry, just be patient. Your time will come, but you've got to be patient. I'm a huge, huge believer in that. And sometimes things, I've said this in the past, sometimes things are put into your lap that your brain would have had absolutely no idea how it was going to achieve. But I'm a big believer in, showing up every day, putting value out into the world, being of service to others. I promise you, someone said to me once, you'll get everything you want out of your life, if you help everyone else get what they want out of their lives. I'm a huge advocate of that. Some incredible, you know what? Every single thing in my life that's happened that's good has come about, and I mean this, probably like nearly everything that's been really good has come about as a direct result of helping somebody else. Just honestly. And this thing now was also a direct result of helping somebody else. So if you are not a member of atsonthis.tv, get yourself over to atsonthis.tv. I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to share my web browser with you now. I put out a podcast. When did I do it? Last week or the week before? With agent Natalie Payne from Payne Management. 2 hours of awesome content. Basically, every single question you want answering as an actor on agents, how to get an agent, how to nurture the relationship with your agent, how to change agents, how to write to agents if you've not got one. I mean, just everything. Me and Natalie did a phone in for 2 hours where you guys, if you're a premium member of atsonthis.tv, it's only $10 a month, join it, become a premium member. If you do, you get to jump on the phone and talk to my guests on various podcasts. Not everybody, because there's hundreds of members in the community. So, you get to put your question in. And over time, you'll definitely get a chance to jump on the phone at some point. We ring about 6 or 7 people each podcast. And I did a podcast with Natalie. She's just put a brand new book out called An Agent's Perspective. I would urge everybody, honestly, I get no commission. This is not a sales pitch. It's a brilliant, no-nonsense book on everything you'd probably want to know about, like I say, approaching agents, dealing with agents, basically getting an agent, whether your agent is right for you, etc., etc. Natalie started writing it when I interviewed her back in 2011, so it's been in her head for 8 years. She's published it now. I think it's about £6. It's hardly anything. Get it on Amazon and just, drop her a tweet to let her know that you've seen this and you've got it. But I had Natalie on the podcast to just chat about the book and also, give the community loads and loads of value. That was on like a Sunday night, I think. And, went away. Natalie went away, dead happy with the content. I was editing it. I was like, right, I'll put it out in a couple of weeks for you. She emailed me on the Tuesday just out of the blue to go, Ross, as you know what, thankfully, as did loads of people in this community as well, and my own agent as well. She dropped me a message saying, Ross, I've just seen this brief go out on, I don't even know if it was on Spotlight, I don't know what it was, but basically it was for a visually impaired actor for an American TV show. And she said, listen, it sounds right up your street. She wouldn't have, I don't think she would have even known I was visually impaired had I not done that interview with her on the Sunday and spoken about it. But thanks to everyone in the community who sent me that brief as well. Lots of people sent it me. To cut a long story short, I self-taped for that show. And I'm going out to Canada on Wednesday, not to shoot it, not got it yet, but to do a screen test, which is amazing. It's without a doubt the biggest opportunity I've had in my acting career. Full stop. Would be an incredible privilege to do it. So would be so excited to do it because ultimately, it's me portraying a part that I live in my everyday life in terms of being visually impaired and stuff. I'm really passionate about it. Not counting my chickens before they've hatched. I don't know if it's going to go my way or what, but ultimately, taught me two things. One, had the community and my own agent not pulled together, to find out about that as well, I would have found out about that off Natalie directly because I helped her by basically, bringing her on the podcast and, promoting the book, not because I wanted anything in return, because I thought it was a really good product, and I wanted to give you guys value. So that, wouldn't have happened, had she not sent me that, I wouldn't have reached out had she not sent me that email. I wouldn't have emailed the casting directors at that particular time. And also, a lesson on patience. Again, this is, like I said, I'm 21 years in, and this could be, a bit of a break, that next step up the ladder. So you just never know. It's just hopefully it's a little bit of inspiration for you guys to go, God, you know what, like, you can be sat in your room watching this tonight, and then in 2 days' time, you can get a brief through that can send you to the other side of the world within 2 weeks, And the executive producer of this show as well is Ben Stiller, which is pretty amazing. So, I'm not saying he's going to be there. I mean, imagine if he was, though. God, I'd probably shit my pants. I wouldn't. I'd be very, very excited. But yeah, you go from sitting in your kitchen recording a podcast on the Sunday to 2 weeks later, I don't know, God, maybe be in a room with somebody like that. But the moral is you just never know, ultimately. And this is 21 years in, and I know there's people here who are going to be like, 2-3 years into their career. Well, I know there is, because I got an email off two people last night and the night before, saying the exact same thing. One was complaining about, and I get it, initially was complaining about how hard it is to get on Spotlight and how they felt discriminated against because they couldn't afford to go to a drama school. And if you go to drama school, you get in on Spotlight straight away. Like, some accredited drama school places mean you automatically qualify for Spotlight. A lot of other people need to hustle their asses off to get those 4 credits. And this person was struggling to get those 4 credits. Had got lots of other credits in short films and commercials, but they don't count for Spotlight. So I understand why they were, complaining. But also I was like, okay, right, how long have you been in the game for so far? And they're like, oh man, like nearly 2 years, as if that was a long time. I'm like, come back to me like when you 10x that, and you've been in the industry 21 years and you're still not getting, like where you're still not where you want to be. And I don't know if we ever will all be where we want to be. I mean, that's the thing. And that was, again, losing Eric really put things into perspective. So go, actually, you know what? I have nothing to complain about. I don't have to be an actor. I don't have to be after these things that I want. I get to be. What a privilege it is to be in a position to be able to do that. And never forget that. You don't have to do any of this shit. You can absolutely quit anytime you want and go and do something normal. People will say, but it's not fair. The industry's not fair. No, it isn't. But you know what? Nothing's fair. Life is not fair. And it shouldn't be, because those who work the hardest and want it the most, get it. There'd be nothing to work for if life was fair. So yeah, just a bit of inspiration. Just go, look, you just do not know. Every night I come on here on a Monday night, what do I say? The very first sentence probably, as I say, it's Monday night, start of a brand new week. Anything could happen. And I had no idea that week that, well, this time last week, I was due an email that said, Ross, can you come over can you fly into Toronto on the 14th? I had no idea. Literally, I got that probably an hour and a half after I finished the live broadcast last week. So keep your fingers crossed. Don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, you just don't know. It could be you this week, that gets something like that. Renna says, cheers for playing that, Ross, that video with Gary there. Such a great reminder and a slap in the face. Really sorry to everyone for your loss. Sadly, I didn't know him. Yeah, you'd have loved Eric Ryan, honestly. Really, really good guy. Kerry's in the house. How you doing? Tracy Briggs is here as well. Steve said, only realised this week I've only been acting professionally for 3 years. Yeah, I met Steve in the street was it last night, Steve? It was, wasn't it? And he thought he'd been acting for 5 years, and then he actually looked at it and went, no, actually, I mean, just seems like 5 years. You've probably aged 5 years, Steve, but he'd only been in the industry 3 years. Started when he was 46. And that's absolutely fine. There is no set age to start out in this industry whatsoever. That's a beautiful thing. You can literally, act at any age, at all. Great podcast with Natalie, says Ollie. Thanks for listening, Ollie. Appreciate that. Brendan's here as well. All right, Brendan. He says he's fashionably late, but that's all right. The book is brilliant. Yeah, get the book, Brendan. Well, Brendan's got the book. He enjoys the book. Matt Hall's in the house. How you doing, Matt? Hope the podcast is going well, mate. Rihanna says she's going to get the book. Great podcast. She was actually on my target list as one of the agents I'm contacting. Natalie's great, honestly. And this is the thing with Natalie. She's very boutique. She's got 36 clients. Very strong clients though, and they're working all over the world. She's very good at the international scene as well. People working in America and stuff. But she says in that podcast, she gets over 50 submissions a day from actors. So she gets more than her clients list, list worth of submissions from actors who want to be with her every single day. So read her book first before contacting her, because you don't want to make the mistakes that probably 49 out of those 50 people are making, and why she'd never, she'd probably never bring you in for even a meeting. Don't fall into those mistakes. Ollie says, yes, mate. Thank you, Ollie. Cheers, Lucy. Everyone's saying amazing. Appreciate that. Like I say, don't get too excited, because, I've kind of been in an opportunity similar to this before in 2014, and it didn't come off. So I'm very grounded with this. Like I say, normally I wouldn't even have mentioned it. I hate being, like I say, I'm not one of those people who put something on Facebook like, oh, can't believe I got this, but I can't tell anyone about it. I hate that. I hate bragging. I hate anything like that. Really, it was just to illustrate that you just don't know where your next opportunity is coming from. All you should focus on is just putting good out into the world. Opportunity will come from that. You've just got to hang in there, stay in the game as long as you can. Viv says, just enjoy it. Exactly. That's what I'm going to try. Thank you, Fanny. Cheers, Linda. Fingers crossed. Manchester's invading Canada, says Steve. I'm only there 24 hours. I'm not literally. They're flying me out on Wednesday morning, and I come back, I leave on Thursday night. So I'm literally there 24 hours. I don't get to see any of the city, but hopefully, if I get it, I'll get to see a lot of the city. Fingers crossed, says Claire. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate that. Bill Black was in the house. Hope you're well, Bill. You've got it, Ross, says Jay. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Lyd. Thanks, everybody. Cheers, Esther. Oh, everyone, you're also kind. Thank you so much. Means the world. So let's just throw it open. I'm just here for you lot. So what do you want to talk about? Anybody? Do you know what? A lot of people have been emailing me recently about agents. And I told you after having a real honest conversation with my agent, I spoke about this last week, because of, ultimately I've had two deaths, two close friends. Well, one very close friend and a good friend passed away in the last 2 weeks, and that really opened my eyes to my own mortality a week ago. This was before I knew any of this stuff, by the way, of this job. And I thought, God, I've been with my agent 9 years. Love my agent Jane to bits, and the other agents who work within the agency. Honestly, they're so good. Catherine is one of Jane's assistants who I went to drama school with. So we go back like 15 years. They feel like family, really, really awesome people. But I had a realization of going, I've been with the same agency for 9 years. Is this the right thing? Should I try something else? And it was that realization of just my own mortality, really going, maybe, just curiosity. Maybe I should. I've never really attempted to break into London in terms of the agencies down there. And with my eye condition, I haven't got another 9 years left. I don't think before it becomes very apparent I'm visually impaired. So it's a degenerative disease. So right now I can kind of fake it. I'm faking it a lot of the time, really. And I wouldn't look to you guys if most of the time I wouldn't look visually impaired. If you spent more than 20 minutes walking around town with me, it would become very apparent. But on a meeting basis, if those who come down to the meetups once a month, you probably don't notice that much because I'm pretty good at hiding it. But it is degenerative, and I thought, it's going to, maybe in another 5 or 6 years, it'll be very apparent there's a problem. I will no longer be able to fake it as, an ordinary person or whatever that is. So I haven't got another 9 years, to hang around and see if something happens. So I always grab the bull by the horns and just have a really, anything like that. I'm like, right, take action very, very quickly. I wrote an email to my agent, and their response was incredible. I just wrote a really honest email, just putting everything down about how I felt, and nothing, no blame. There is no blame. That's the thing. There is, I have no animosity. It's not nothing. I'm not leaving because of anything they've done or haven't done. It's because I just genuinely, I'm like, look, I need to just try something else. I probably wouldn't bought this apartment last year. I probably won't own this in 9 years' time. And there's not many things you probably still have 9 years later. And they couldn't have been more amazing. They've just been absolutely amazing. Really amazing. And I went and had a lovely chat today with them, and they're just, really looking after me whilst I get new rep. And they're like, look, we'll look after you till you find something else. And just so supportive. And that was a conversation that most of us, let's just be honest, dread, right? We really, really dread that. How do I tell my agent I want to leave? Because it feels like a breakup, doesn't it? It feels like a relationship, like an intimate relationship. It's not that, obviously, but it feels like almost, oh God, I just, I'll ignore it because that burn of that conversation, even though it's only for 5 minutes, that's too much. I don't want to deal with that, so I just won't deal with it. And what I learned there, and hopefully you guys will take away from it, is actually, honesty is always the best policy. And if you respect your agent, you really should just be super honest with them. And the last thing I wanted to do was, upset anybody there, because, they've just been so supportive over the last near decade. We were reminiscing today about jobs and things that I got right at the start, or other people who were with the agency right at the start when I first joined and stuff. And you realize what a long time 9 years is. A lot happens in 9 years. And you grow a lot as a person as well. I'm absolutely not the actor I was when I entered that agency. I've learned so much over the last decade, with a lot of help from them as well. So those people who are like, look, I'm thinking of changing, I don't know whether to change or not. Follow your instincts. My advice: go with your gut. You generally know when it's time, but face it head on. Don't run away from it. Don't chicken out. Don't, whatever you do, don't throw any hate around, or you don't ever slate your agents or any other agents or anything like that. Just face it head on with real honesty. And everybody will probably have a really nice time. It's fine. It's just fine. Dawn says, what's the book called from Natalie? It's called An Agent's Perspective, Dawn. $5.99 on Amazon, I think. Not very expensive at all. So yeah, that's something I wanted to say on agents for those people who are, who are afraid of that kind of conversation. Don't be afraid. Just freaking face it. But with real honesty, and it'll work out for you. I wish it was easier to get on Spotlight, says Dan, but I know it's not, and we just have to put ourselves out there. Yeah, Dan, man, you do. You just do. There's two ways to look at anything in your life that's difficult. One, sit and complain about it. Two, do something about it. Everybody can do something about it to get on Spotlight. You need 4 professional credits. They can't be from short films. They can't be from commercials. They've got to be paid professional credits. One way you can get a credit instantly is to perform in Monologue Slam. That's something you all can do. That's 1 credit. The other 3 credits, you're going to have to be inventive for, aren't you? You're going to have to apply on Mandy.com, Spotlight, get something in a paid feature film. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster feature film. A paid independent feature film, which is professional, is going to class as a credit. You could actually, I know somebody I met on Saturday who had performed at Monologue Slam in different cities multiple times, because each time, if it's in a different city, counts as another credit. If you were really savvy, you just perform in Monologue Slam, Manchester, London, Birmingham, and somewhere else. And you've done it. But yeah, you've just got to work for it. Don't complain, and don't get it twisted and start hating the system. There has to be a system for this. Spotlight cannot let every actor on their platform, because if they do, any, Tom, Dick, or Harry who just wakes up one morning and goes, I'm going to be an actor, can get on Spotlight. And what that does, it dilutes the talent pool, because then anybody can just get on it. And then casting directors will stop using it, because they'll be like, we cannot guarantee the quality of the clients on this platform, because now anyone can join. You don't even have any experience as an actor, you can still join. It can't be like that. There has to be set criteria. So don't hate the system, because it's there for a reason. It's there really to look after you as well. If you hustle and you get those parts, you then don't just want any Tom, Dick, and Harry showing up who, might be able to, I don't know, well, they wouldn't take a part from you, because if they can't act, they can't act. But it just, it just hurts the game if suddenly everybody's, everybody's available to just get on it, it has to be there. So just work, put that energy, where you are upset or frustrated, into actually getting another job. Tony Rossi from Chicago says, I recently got my first TV agent. Tony, I saw you sign, mate. Very happy with that. I've been submitting to them for 8 years and had 2 close calls before now. I won't lie. I was beginning to doubt if it would ever happen. But after years of hustling and trying, an opportunity landed in my lap. You really never know. Beautiful, Tony. How good's that? And how good does it feel after 8 years hustle? Because I bet you appreciate it so much more now than you would have done had it just been easy. We never appreciate things that are easy. So it means more to you, mate. You deserve it. You've obviously got better over these years. And now you've got it. You're going to work harder than ever. Oliver Mason, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. Ollie says, who pays for you to get over there? Do production cover it, Ollie? Yeah. They're very good. So yeah, if it's generally for a network or something, it's got decent budget out there. This is a Warner Brothers and a CBS co-production. So they very nice, isn't it? They pay for that. I'm only there 24 hours though. They could have put me up in a 5-star hotel for 3 weeks, but they chose not to do that. I'm super, super grateful. It's just the opportunity, mate. I'd have swam. Well, couldn't swim there, obviously, but I would have tried. It's just the opportunity to have a crack means the world, And like I say, I don't know how it's going to go. I've just got to go over, give it my all, and just see what happens. But it would be an absolutely incredible opportunity if I got it. Bobby says, I filmed another episode of The Gumdrops yesterday. What's that, Bobby? Is that a web series you done? The actress I wrote the series for reduced the entire set to hysterical laughter more than once. Well, we want to see it, Bobby. Post it in the group when it's edited, mate. Shannon, thanks for posting the title of Natalie's book. Yeah, An Agent's Perspective, Pocket Guide for Actors. You can start acting at any age, says Indra. You certainly bloody can. Andrew, listen to the podcast with Jill Trevelick and the Ander Pryor one. Honestly, guys, there's so many good. I'm just going to throw this up again for people who do not know. And also, actors who are members of Acts on this, you might also not know what you're missing because there's so much content on it. If I go into the members area, there's a social media deep dive live for those people who are going to come on that later this month. We sold out of tickets for that, but I'll keep you posted if any more come up. In your premium membership, look at all of these features here. So these are the Roundtable podcast that we've done. That was the one with Rob Collier and Jordan Hogg recently. These are some of the biggest actors, agents, writers, casting directors, producers in the industry. These are these features with actors. There's more than that as well. If I click on this show more, you're gonna, there's even more. There's just loads and loads and loads. There's 2 pages, in fact. There's bloody loads of those. And these are all, these will all be names you recognise. We've got features with actors, features with agents. So there's loads of agents. There's not just the Natalie one. We've had Archie Purnell from Icon Management, Actors Management. We had Alex Priestley, awesome agent. Guy Howe, my own agent Jane, my voiceover agent, the voiceover gallery. They were on. All of these casting directors, biggest names, literally the biggest names in TV. Andy Pryor, Victor Jenkins, Daniel Edwards, Jill Trevelick, Dan Hubbard, Kate Rose James. These people run the industry. If you want to know how the acting industry actually really works, as opposed to bang your head against a brick wall for 10 years, just go and listen to these. There's so many. We've got features with directors, features with other industry pros. We've got some discounts down here as well, of stuff like voiceover training. I've got a book list. There's a video I created showing you how to find pretty much any casting director's email address for free. Have a real explore, even if you've been a member for a while, because I promise you, there's over 50 podcasts on there right now. There's probably some you haven't listened to, and they're evergreen. The ones that kind of dated because they were about a specific thing that I've done over the years, I've taken them off. They're no longer on the site. So everything else that's on there, even if it was done a couple of years ago, it's on there for a reason because the advice in it is evergreen. It does not go out of date. So go and get stuck in. Have a good dive in, a good deep dive. Alex says, "What's the book called?" It's called An Agent's Perspective, Alex. On Amazon. I should get commission off Natalie now for this. What else? We've got so many comments coming through. Sophie's just joined. Gemma says, "Hope it all goes well." Thank you, Gemma. Appreciate that. Andrew says, "So tomorrow I've got an audition for a job I was meant to do nearly 20 years ago. But show brought off early." What do you mean? What? But you were brought off the show early, 20 years ago. Bloody hell! Get stuck into that then. Lauren says, "Yay, terrific. Even if the part isn't for you, you'll be remembered." Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that. John says, hi Ross, just lost the feed. Going to try and get back up on my computer. I love how positive you are about going for what you want. I'm looking for more clarity myself in my goals. Also is wondering if you bringing book club back at some point as reading about others is something I'm going to do more of. Yeah, you know what? I haven't done a book club in absolutely months. Let us know, and you don't have to decide now, but post in the Facebook group if you want about this. Facebook.com/groups/Acts on this TV. I used to do a book club. For those who are new to these broadcasts, every other week I would just bring a book on and I'd read a chapter of a book to you guys, because I know, not everybody likes reading. So I would read a chapter of a book. It would also hold me accountable so that I would read these books behind me that I'd bought. And I'm like, right, if I've got to read them because you guys are going to want to know what's in them. And we would read just one chapter, and it'd be a book on personal development or something to do with the acting industry, something ultimately that would make you either a better actor or a better human being overall, which feeds into your acting career anyway. If that's something you want me to bring back, do let me know, because I haven't done it in such a long time. You can still get all the replays from the old ones on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/Act on this TV, there's probably like 300 plus replays on there of all the old ones. And again, they're evergreen. The books were brilliant. Some of the books we looked at were absolutely awesome. If you do want that, then let us know. Andrew says, good agent Nicola Bolton at Regan Management. Nicola's awesome, Andrew. Regan's a great agency in Manchester. If you're an actor looking for a decent agent in Manchester, there's some great agents in Manchester. Regan is definitely one of them. Dougal says, here's a question. I had an audition for a theatre tour, but I had to decline it as I'd be out of the country in the middle of the tour. Should I have gone anyway and done the audition, or was I wise to not go as I wasn't available for the whole time? Well, you know what, dude? It's fair play that you were just up front, mate, and you were just telling them, you weren't available. If you're not available for the whole period and you don't really, really, really want to do it, then you'd be wasting people's time if you went. You could have got the experience of the audition. There's not a right or wrong answer to that, mate, to be honest. You just, you just told the truth. If you know what, generally speaking, if you can't commit to the job, just think if the boot was on the other foot. If I was casting something and I could only get a finite amount of actors in for that job, and I found out that somebody took a place up who knew they couldn't do it even if they got it, I'd be pretty pissed off probably, because I'd be like, I could have filled that place with someone who, one, was available, and two, actually wanted the job. So yeah, in situations like that, I always just put the boot on the other foot and just go, right, how would I feel if that happened to me? I'd probably do that. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer though. Do what you think, Dougal. I'm missing all these comments. Are you looking at agencies near Manchester still, or are you looking at some in London? Who's that, Esther? You talking about me or somebody else on here? I'm definitely looking for London now. Because there'd be no point in me going to another Manchester agency, I don't think. Jane's great in Manchester. I've kind of done Manchester. I've never tried London. Don't know if anyone will take any notice of me whatsoever, but you know what? You might as well try, aren't you? It's the only variable in my career I've probably not had a crack at over the last few years. So give it a go. See what happens. I don't know. I literally have no plan yet. I need to sort of get a plan together. I'm going to figure that out when I get back from Toronto. If you can't be honest with yourself, how can you be honest as an actor? You have to know yourself. What's that about, Brendan? What's that referring to? Caitlin says 9 years is a really long time. I was 12 years old and I always wanted to be a doctor. 9 years later, I'm still walking towards that goal. What, you're going to be a doctor as well? Caitlin, actress and a doctor? Because that's awesome. I mean, and that's something that I really believe in. You don't have to be one thing. I mean, you're going to have to very, very, very much knuckle down. Oh, you want to be the doctor? There you go. You don't want to be a doctor. Do you know what though? Why not? If you wanted to be, do that. Have a crack at medicine for a decade, then crack on with your acting. You don't have to be defined by one thing. But yeah, Caitlin wants to be the doctor, not a doctor. I think you should be a doctor though, and then just write to Andy Pryor, who cast Doctor Who, and goes, look, I am an actual doctor, so I should probably be the doctor. Took me just 2 years to get on Spotlight, says Bobby, just hard work. Bobby, you hustle, mate. I witnessed the whole thing, definitely. 100%. Kev, I want to give you a shout out now. So Kev Flanagan, For those who don't know, I'm hosting the first live event for actsonthis.tv. It's a social media event based around helping actors really get to grips with and understand how to use social media, leverage its power to build a personal brand, ultimately to gain very positive attention online for all the right reasons, get your show really in front of the right people, network with the right people, get to grips with getting attention, forming an audience that isn't just an audience of actors. This is something that we talk about a lot. And if you were here on the broadcast last week, me and Ollie, who I'm running this event with, we're doing a dual broadcast together, and we're saying that so many actors create content that's really, really good. They'll create some great comedy, or some great drama, and then what do? They just go and put it in acting groups on Facebook, and it's just like, they are not your audience. Actors are not your audience. It's figuring out if you want to actually build a real audience online through social media, gather a following who care about your work, who, you don't need them to be actors. If you're a huge Marvel fan, Lee, my cameraman, is a huge Marvel fan. If he was creating content around Marvel, why put it in a group of actors? You'll get a few who like Marvel, but why not go and seek out the Facebook groups that are full of Marvel fans and put it in front of them and start building a real fan base? So that's something that we're quite big on. But we're helping actors really understand Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to develop your career. It's happening on the 23rd of August. Tickets are now sold out, by one ticket. We got one ticket that a guy told me he was going to buy last night. I've sent him the checkout link, and he's not bought it yet. So if he doesn't buy it by tomorrow, drop me a message on Facebook if you are interested, or go to actsonthis.tv/social to read about the event. But Kev is coming over from Dublin, this is the reason I'm talking about this, to join the event, and he needs somebody, preferably, if anyone else is coming from somewhere else to join that event, and maybe you're getting a hotel, you can maybe get a twin room or something, split the cost, share with Kev, or if anyone is in Manchester as an actor, and Kev's totally legit, super, super legit guy. He's not a weird psycho stalker. And you want to put Kev up for the night next Thursday going into Friday, then give him a shout on here, Kev Flanagan. You'll find him in the Facebook group. But I just wanted to put that out there because Kev's a really decent guy. And he wants to network with other actors while he's over. He's like, you know what, I can get a hotel on my own if I want, or I can go meet somebody else and actually kind of, create some contacts in Manchester. So yeah, give Kev a shout. Does anyone here still use Mandy, says Rihanna? I just re-registered. Any other online casting sites you would recommend for work? I was living abroad for a while and not sure what the best sites are anymore. Mandy's definitely still... If you're not on Spotlight, Rihanna, or Mandy's without a doubt the main one really. If you're not on Spotlight, the Star now as well, which is very entry level. With all of the sites that are pay to play, you've just got to be careful of the briefs. But you know what? Bloody hell! You saw the mistake Spotlight made last week, didn't they? By a casting director put out a horrific brief for a chocolate company for their Christmas commercial, asking for a prepubescent kid who, because it's chocolate, couldn't be overweight, had to be beautiful, angelic, couldn't have ginger hair. All of the... it was proper bad. Really, really, really disgustingly bad, this brief. And Spotlight said, it's fallen through our net. They haven't got a net. They don't vet any, any casting briefs that go out. They just expect casting directors to behave responsibly, and this casting director did not do that. And they've ended up in national press, getting a load of shit this week. So even Spotlight can get it wrong, so I guess we can't slate sites like Mandy who get it wrong as well, because I often see their briefs being a little bit questionable. Ultimately, you've just got to pick and choose wisely what you apply for on any casting site, but on Mandy and stuff like that, just really be careful of what you're applying for. There is good jobs on there though, without a doubt, and I know so many actors who have got their 4 credits to get on Spotlight through using Mandy, so it is a great stepping stone, for you to get on Spotlight. So definitely don't count it out, Rihanna. It's a great platform. Just be wise for what you for what you apply for, and also don't know how much merit there is in just focusing on everything that's wrong in the industry. Sometimes I'm like, call people out if something is really wrong, and that brief definitely deserves to be called out because it was particularly bad. But ones that just get it a bit wrong or are questionable, that don't seem really dodgy, I still see people wasting hours slagging them off on Facebook groups, and I'm like, those hours that you are spending slagging off something that you don't want to apply for and is never going to affect your life, you're just wasting. The worst form of procrastination by putting negative energy out there. Don't do it. When you slate something, you don't feel good about it. It might give you a bit of significance initially because you're like, yeah, I'm going to sock it to them. Ultimately, it's not a great state for you to be in physiologically, mentally. It's not the right state for you to be in, and you could put that energy just into something positive in your own career. So I'm just like, there's a part of me that's just like, stop complaining. Again, just stop complaining. If I complain about everything I didn't agree with, I'd have time, didn't agree with it, I wouldn't have time to do anything. The things that I don't agree with are just, just fine. You just crack on. I'm going to crack on with my thing. So just be careful of what you apply for. When you get the role, Ross, a podcast with Ben Stiller, says Jay, mate, it would be an absolute dream, wouldn't it? Would be an absolute dream. I mean, I'm not even thinking about it, Jay. I'm not even thinking about it. Just get too excited. Do you think there's anything wrong with trying to find other career paths that help you feel fulfilled as well as working towards your acting work? I will never stop being an actor, but I'm also working on the work I love. Some people have said to me that if I'm doing that, I can't really want this. Oh, this is a brilliant question, because I couldn't disagree more with those people who are telling you that you don't want it because you want to do something else. You do everything that you want to do that makes you fulfilled. And that goes out to any actor watching this. I'm aware in this industry, people are probably a bit confused by what I am. Because like, what is Ross, right? He says he's an actor, but he does a load of presenting. He runs this online community. He does podcasts. He's a voiceover artist. What is he? And I get that. And the thing is, I'm not going to put myself in a box. And initially, I was a bit afraid of that. But I've been doing this 8 years now. To the point where some of the biggest casting directors in this industry have now signed up and paid me to join actonthis.tv, which is insane. I mean, that in itself I never thought would happen. But honestly, some of the biggest names in this industry are now members of the website. I would have given them membership for free because they've been guests on the site. They haven't. They've just joined randomly over different months. And that's made me go, okay, you know what? Like, it's fine. Like, you can be whatever you want to be. And I've said this all the time, and it might sound sacrilegious to some actors, but acting alone will never be enough for me, because it's something that you can't do every single day of the year. Even the most successful actors in the world do not do it every day. And I think if you did, you go insane. We're only here for a very short period of time. It's been highlighted by Eric James Dean, losing him last week. We're not here forever. There are millions, literally, of incredibly enriching, things to do out there, activities to do, careers to follow, hobbies to have, people to meet. Don't box yourself in. If you are becoming a better person, you are always becoming a better actor, because you are having emotional experiences. We are emotional beings. If you are experiencing joy in your hobby, disappointment in your hobby when something might go wrong, if you go, you know what, I want to run marathons in my spare time, the highs of completing one, the lows of getting an injury and crashing out. These are all incredibly emotionally enriching things to go through as a human being. And that then makes you more emotionally available in your work because you can relate to different scenarios. You become a better actor. Every part of your life affects every part of your life. So please don't just hem yourself in and go, I can't possibly be seen to be doing anything else because what will people think of me? Forget other people's opinions. That's the best piece of advice anyone could ever give to anyone is just get very silent in your head, focus on what you want to do, and just forget the opinions of other people. Make your opinion of yourself more important than everybody else's opinion of you combined, because you know you are doing what you want to do for the right reasons and they're pure and good. Go and crack on and do it. Don't hold back because you're like, oh, I'm not a proper actor if I don't just act. Some of the most boring actors I know and have ever come across in my life are just actors. Fact. Branch out. Definitely branch out. So many comments. I have to miss a few comments. Richard Hayler's in the house. Here's another thing. All right, Rich. I won't tell him exactly what happened. Richard found himself at the football yesterday in Birmingham. This is how you never know what's going to happen. I won't give it away, Rich, and tell him like who you met. Richard met a very, very famous writer who writes a very, very famous series that's incredibly popular right now. And ultimately, this writer has gone, actually, you know what? Your face really matches a new character that I'm writing for this show. Get in touch with me. So that's another, and Rich, how long have you been in the game, man? I mean, you shouldn't have even really been in Birmingham. Rich lives in America. Came over just to help his mum out with some stuff and is watching the football, and then boom, bumps into this person. Complete serendipity. His brain could never have figured out how he would end up in a room with this person, but it just happened because he's a good guy and he puts good stuff out there. And this is sometimes the universe just rewards you. You just never know what's going to happen. So, Rich, when you do get that job, I mean, take us all with you, mate. We'd all like a gig on that show. Won't tell you what it is, though. You can guess in the comments if you want. Meg says, I've recently been to an an Act Up North workshop with Peter Hunt. It was fab. But I also got to go to Inspire Studios workshops. They're fab too. Some are more insightful than others. That must have been some people asking about acting workshops. Yeah, Peter Hunt's awesome. Peter Hunt's the head casting director of Hollyoaks. He used to run Act Up North. He's still affiliated with it now. I don't know if he still co-owns part of it or something like that. Awesome guy, incredibly giving, a huge champion of new talent. Peter really loves giving people their first break and their first TV job on Hollyoaks. If you are on Spotlight and you've got a reel and you're looking for a break, drop Peter your reel. Why wouldn't you? Steve Carey's in the house. All right, Steve, hope you're well. Let's have a look. Oh, all these other comments. I'm a solicitor, says Claire, and an actor. Full-time job can restrict you pushing for things, but at the same time, it gives me security, and it's not stopped me in getting some lovely jobs, albeit few and far between. It makes me appreciate every minute I get to enjoy any acting jobs I get. I'm looking forward to the deep dive. Claire's coming on the social media deep dive. Claire, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so good. I absolutely cannot wait for it. actsonthis.tv/social if you want to get on the waiting list for the next time we run this event. I don't know when it's going to be. Because fingers crossed I'm going to get this job, and then I don't know when when we'll be able to run another one. But the one in August, later this month, Claire, is going to be wicked. Promise you that. Definitely. Right, I'm going to skip right to the bottom of the comments because I feel bad for missing some, but I'm way behind the conversation here. Brendan says the universe has always got our backs. That's something, honestly, that I really believe as well. I know it sounds hippie and space age and just a bit out there, and I'm not one of the, you know what I struggle with. I'll be on it right. I had a conversation the other day. This is something I do struggle with, but also I realise you don't have to prescribe to it exactly. Everybody says everything happens for a reason. I think if you believe that, you have to really believe everything happens for a reason. So, the fact that your relationship broke up, you can comfort yourself by going, oh, but everything happens for a reason. There's going to be something great comes down the line. There well might be. But if you can be like that, and you, I'm going to get this job. It all happens for a reason. I didn't get that job. It must happen for a reason. You do have to buy into the fact that you go, you know what? That kid who got leukemia at 4 years old today happened for a reason. The kid who died trying to cross, over from, Syria in a dinghy, who, his whole family was wiped out and he just died alone in the ocean. That happened for a reason. I struggle to buy that. Because I'm like, if I'm going to believe that the good stuff happens for a reason, I really have to believe that all of the bad stuff happens for a reason. So I don't think that's that, kind of necessary. I don't know. It's up to you, innit? That's not what I prescribe to. But I do prescribe to what Brendan says there. The universe has always got our backs. I believe if you put out great vibes into the world, if you help other people, if you act from a place of where it's not about how much money you make, it's about how many people are going to show up at your funeral, magical things happen in your life. And I believe that universe has got your back in that respect. I'm sure it can't step in and just stop every bad thing from happening in your life, otherwise no one would go through any trauma. I wish the universe had my back and had given me 20/20 vision. Right, universe didn't have my back the day I was born there, Brendan. But look at some of the advantages that can come out of your adversity. This role that I'm going for in the show is for a visually impaired character. I would never have got a chance to play it had I not been born with this condition. So in that sense, I feel the universe had my back there. It's going, you know what, you've been dealt a bit of shit. Let's kind of give you some advantage from that adversity. So I'm a big advocate of that. If you are going through something now that's bad, I'm not saying it's happening for a reason and you deserved it and it's all going to become clear, because sometimes it doesn't work like that, life. It's still confusing. I go, why did my dad die at 24? For a reason? Well, nothing good has really, great has come out of it in terms of, there's a load of gifts in terms of me appreciating life, of course, and you turn that adversity into advantage. But it's not a matter of going, oh, that was the reason. It happened for a reason. It doesn't, but I believe the universe has got you back in terms of going, right, you know what, that shit's happened, but you know what, we'll get you through it, hang in there. And stuff has always worked out. Ultimately, you will deal with it. The thing to remember is, you don't really have to control situations, in your life. You just need to look to a time where you didn't think you'd been able to cope with something if it happened, and then it happened. And what did you do? You coped with it. If it happens, I will deal with it. And if if you realize that no matter what happens, you're going to deal with it, ultimately not a lot to be afraid of. So yeah. It's my take on that, Brendan. Just reminding me when you wrote that, mate, which is good. PayPal sorted for the last place on the deep dive. Ollie, so people wanted to pay through PayPal for the deep dive. it does not integrate with the gateway, the payment gate, the system basically that run ads on this on. Unfortunately, I know people wanted to use PayPal so they could use PayPal credit. There's just no way of doing that. If this guy doesn't take this last place, Ollie, and you want it, I can't do PayPal. There's probably a way to split the payments to go maybe pay half up front and half later, or something like that. But PayPal, is pretty clunky, and just I use Stripe to process all payments, and that's on this. It's much easier, and it's much more user friendly for you guys as well when you want to cancel memberships or update credit cards and all that sort of stuff directly from atsonthis.tv. It's super simple. PayPal is much harder. There's a lot more administration involved with it. So unfortunately, it's just not something. A few people have asked Ollie, but I just can't do it, mate. Not because I don't want to, because it's literally physically impossible. But yeah, if you drop me an email if you want to go through options. Basically, because there's still options to maybe spread it out a bit or something like that. But it's if Lawrence doesn't take this place. If Lawrence takes it, mate, there's no places left, unfortunately. But email Ross at atsonthis.tv if you just want to talk about it. Meg says, I convinced myself that phase doesn't exist, and then something. What do you mean doesn't it? Phase? Is that a typo, Meg? Something doesn't exist, then something happens, and it totally makes sense. I kind of get it. Clarify a bit more. Kathy says, read Dolores Cannon. Dolores is a name. Cannon, her book, to understand that even bad things happen for a reason. Oh, it'd have to be a freaking compelling book, Kathy, to convince me that, the 12 kids in the UK who were diagnosed with cancer today happen for a reason. I struggle with that on a practical level because I'm a very practical person. Yeah, I think it's an incredibly unfair reason. But you know what? I'm open to being educated, definitely. Tony says, hey, Ross, we had someone named Esther ask this question and didn't want you to miss it. Oh, hi, Ross. Cheers, Tony. Hi, Ross. I'm 17 and I'm looking to join Identity Drama School in January. From now until then, I want to work. Are there any jobs you'd recommend me to apply for that isn't retail? I've tried retail before and I hate it. I'm telling you, Esther, I sympathise with you. I worked in retail for 11 years before I became, successful enough to just do acting full time. 11 years in the same four walls, working in a computer game shop in the Trafford Centre. The first 2 years were great. The last 9, not so much. My advice would be, Esther, if you want to work in the industry, is to get a job. And this goes for everybody. If you can, get a job that is related to the thing you want to do, because you are going to be inspired to keep going to that job. And you're also going to get an opportunity to meet people, maybe learn about a different area of the industry you might never have learned about otherwise. And you're going to feel part of it. It's why I love running ads on this, because when I'm not working, I still feel part of the industry. I'm interviewing people. I'm talking to you guys. We're all talking about the acting industry, and you feel part of that world. So for me, if I was starting again, I would be looking at things like, I worked as a casting assistant, Esther, for 4 years, and it was the best education I had. It was the impetus for me to set up atsonthis.tv. So a casting assistant, what they do is they sign people in at casting. So when you go to a casting, they say, oh, hi, you're here, what's your name? I'm going to tick you off on the list. I'm going to take your photograph and give you your script before you go into the casting or something like that. So you could write to every casting director near you. If you live in London, write to all the casting directors and say, listen, would love to work as a I'm going to drama school next year. Would love to work as a casting assistant. I'm happy to make coffee, make tea, sign people in, take photographs. Ultimately, you're the dog's body, but you're going to learn so much and make some fantastic, connections. That's what I did. You could work in a box office at a theatre. You could be an usher, even at a cinema. You know what? Petch, my cameraman, loves working at the cinema because he gets to watch all of these films that come out, and he's an actor. He's fascinated in acting. He wants to be in film. He gets to work with film. Ultimately, you work in a cinema, but it's still related. There's all kinds of jobs within this industry. Maybe you work as a runner on a set, or just to help someone out in a production office. There's lots of production companies all the time looking for people to do admin and contracts and all this sort of stuff. Yes, it's probably a little bit just do as you're told. A bit of dog's body work, but you're in the industry you want to work in. You're going to learn loads, honestly. And when you see this industry from the other side of the camera and what goes into production, it puts you in far better stead, for in front of the camera, because you get it. You understand it eclectically as a whole. Thus, you just become a better performer. So I would say, yeah, Tony, thanks for bringing that up, mate. Esther, it's gonna be a lot more work than just going and dropping CVs off in your local shopping centre. That's what most people who are 17 do to get a job. You are going to have to get on email, and you have to seek people out at production companies, casting directors. You're going to have to, find. If you go to atsonthis.tv /Twitter, fill your email address in and you'll get a list of 33 casting directors you should be following on Twitter. Just follow all of those people. Drop them a tweet. Hey, do you need anybody to help? I know Peter Hunt, the casting director, head of Hollyoaks, put a tweet out the other day saying, looking for, admittedly, an experienced casting assistant, for certain days over summer. And you're not going to have an experience yet, but there's no harm in reaching out to, Peter at Line Pictures and just going, listen, I really want to learn. If you just end up doing a couple of days a week, it's going to just help you save up some money for Identity. And Identity is a great school. If you go to actonthis.tv, let me bring it up again. You need a premium membership, Esther. It's a tenner a month. That's it. But if you this interview here I did with Lydia West, great actress. She starred in Years and Years. I played her boss in Years and Years, the drama that was out on BBC One recently. Russell T Davies. She went to Identity. She talks about it in this podcast. So you might want to listen to that. To find out a little bit more about it. But yeah, awesome. Doing great stuff, but yeah, you're not going to be inspired in retail. You're going to do what I did, and then at the end of every week want to just go and get drunk. That's basically all I did, Esther. Just ran away from my life from probably 18 to 24, to be honest, and then thought, right, I actually better do something with my life. Andrew Watson's in the house. Hope you well. Gonna take a couple more comments. I'm aware it's gone 10 o'clock, and then we're going to call it a night. But thank you so much that everybody's joined us again. It blows my mind. We've probably had over 200 actors come through this broadcast tonight as I've been doing it. Meg says, I convinced myself that the phase doesn't make sense that you're going through. It's silly, etc. And then something happens, and I'm like, that wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen, etc., etc. And I'm thinking it's all a chain reaction of other people's lives changing mine. Makes complete sense. And yeah, I'm Siri's just gone off on my phone. I'm an advocate of that, definitely. Like I say, I just struggle with the whole kids die for a reason because I just think that's wholly unfair. But yeah, there's things with it, me getting this opportunity for this job where I'm like, God, you know what? If I didn't meet that person on that day, if I didn't reach out on LinkedIn that day to arrange this podcast, that wouldn't have happened on that day. I wouldn't have mentioned my eyes. I wouldn't have got that brief through. Had it not come through at that time, I wouldn't have emailed America at that time. They might not have got it. I wouldn't have got my tape. If Lee wasn't around, I wouldn't have done the self-tape at that time. I wouldn't have sent it. All of these things, whoa, crazy how much, coincidence has to go in this stuff. So I don't know what it is. I don't know how you separate going, well, you know what? Yeah, that's all happening for a reason, and the universe has got my back, from the really, really bad stuff. That was unnecessary. I don't know why that had to happen. I find it's difficult to, accept that family that drowned tried to escape a war zone. What the reason behind that was. Why did that have to happen to them? What was the reason? I feel incredibly guilty that I get to sit here in these amazing surroundings whilst that's happening. I go, oh no, but it's fine that they died. That happened for a reason. Just struggle with that. So, again, all comes down to gratitude, appreciating where you are. No complaining from anyone in here tonight. If you're on this broadcast tonight, you've got a smart device, at least a phone, and you've got access to the internet. You've got everything you need to be successful. Don't complain. We can't complain at all. Thanks for that, Tony. All these comments. Corin's just joined as well. Viv says, I'm a firm believer that we are never given more than we can handle. Everything that life throws at us. That's interesting. Everything that life throws at us, we are more than capable of dealing with in whatever way that might be. Strength to overcome with something, courage to challenge it. Some things are harder than others. I've never thought of that. Really interesting take on that, Viv. Rob Collier, said that to me once. Rob James Collier, who plays Thomas in Downton Abbey. New Downton Abbey film comes out in September the 13th. Please go and watch it. I'm not in it. I'm just doing it for Rob. He said to me, I look at the world as, not why me, why not me. Rob's been through a lot of adversity. He's never really spoken about it, but it's not for me to discuss. But he's faced quite a bit of adversity in his life. And he was like, look, to get through it, was like, why not me? I'm strong. Like you say, I'm strong enough to deal with this. Why not me? Not why me. So yeah, it is interesting when you look at it like that. Awesome. I'm so sorry missing all these comments. There's just so many flying by so quick. One of the things I talk about, says Tony, in my workshops is that rejection and failure are often just a reroute. If I hadn't gotten rejected from my top choice for university and then another rejection from receiving a higher acting degree at my backup school, I never would have had the professor who recommended Chicago as a place for me to move to. Being in 9 years now, I'm loving it. Tony, it's awesome, man. Yeah, there's all that. Honestly, it's funny, isn't it? I think, it fascinates me because sometimes it's a bit like, I think, well, what is it? Is it a bit like horoscopes? When you read a horoscope and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, this is me, because you convince yourself that it is. Do we as human beings look back at all the things that happened to us and convince ourselves that this was all in fate? Or is it all just luck? Is it all just chance? I mean, I just don't know. I just know sometimes when I focus on something that I really, really, really want, and I almost like act as if I already got it, not to the point where I sit back and go, oh, I've already got it, don't need to do any work. If I'm just like, no, I know this is going to come off. I know this is good. There's been many occasions where some crazy stuff has happened where I've gone, holy shit, I never in a million years could have foreseen those circumstances arising. As in, like, I couldn't have figured out how to make that happen. And it's actually happened. So it's just magic in it. I don't know. It's like when you're a kid and you go, how does that work? And your mum and dad can't explain it. So they go, magic. That's my answer for everything now. Why does this happen? Magic in it. Just magic. Kathy says it's all about the soul having to experience everything. Bloody hell, it's all deep in it. Shelley's here. Hi, Ross. Completely different subject, but I listened to the latest podcast today and mocap was mentioned. There's a company called The Mocap Vaults who do brilliant training in it. Might be another area for you to do a podcast. Director John Dower from EastEnders and loads of games runs it. Lovely guy. Thank you. I've heard of the Mocap Vaults. A few people. Mark sent me his little, like a showreel thing that he did at Mocap Vaults. Looked very, very good. Anyone who wants to get in mocap, I can't recommend them personally, but there's so many people who I know who are legit who recommend them. So definitely check out Mocap Vaults, and that would be a really good podcast. Maybe I'll definitely I'll do that. If you woke up this morning in a comfy warm bed, you have everything to be grateful for, says Andrea. Make a list of 10 things you have to be grateful for about every day, and you will soon see your blessings, and it will attract more into your life. Big believer in that. I think what you appreciates. Grateful to have such a dedicated, insightful mentor. Thank you, Bobby. I don't know how I'm dedicated. I don't know how insightful I am, mate. Sometimes I'm just all over the place as well. Like, you know, I kind of run this community, but don't for a second anyone on here think that I have got it all together or I know exactly what I'm doing. Because God, I just, you know, when I got that news about Eric, grief's weird, isn't it? I almost, you know, I'd geared myself up for finding out the worst about Eric because I got a call the Monday before to say, listen, he's really, really bad. Didn't want to believe it. But I kind of geared myself up for it. And Eric was my first friend, like real friend that I've lost in my life. I've lost a parent, lost my dad, and that was horrific. But none of my friends have gone. And I thought, no, you know, it's all right. This is life. This is, you know, I'm going to be able to handle it. Just got to deal with it. And I got the call off Diana, his partner, to tell me what had happened. And I thought, I've got to hold it together for her. And I felt like, you know, I felt kind of at peace with it. I was like, you know what, I kind of knew this was going to happen. Everyone did the best they could for him. He was very poorly. But then grief creeps up on you. It's a really interesting emotion. You know what, in our acting careers, it's really interesting to experience it, to be able to portray it authentically, because it's freaking weird. You know, I just found myself in the shower and I'm just washing my hair and then just burst into tears. And I'm like, where did that come from? Wasn't expecting that. And I think as guys, we try and repress a lot of emotion and try and hold it all together. But my advice, if you feel tense or something bad's happened in your life, cry your eyes out for half an hour. I felt so good afterwards. I felt so much lighter. And if you cry in the shower, it just all washes off. So it's fine. But grief, man, yeah. What a crazy emotion. It's just like a punch in the stomach, innit? I remember it from my dad. Like, I felt, you know, it's 1 minute I'd be laughing because you feel like, what's the alternative? I've got to kind of get over this. And the next minute, it's like you punch in the stomach, all the wind drains out your body and you can't breathe. And I don't think you experience it any other time in your life unless you're really in that moment. And it fades away. So, like, you know, you'll go through the process of grief, and, you know, I don't know exactly how long that's supposed to last, or if there is a set time frame for it. But I remember having such an awareness when my dad died about what really mattered in my life. And I was so grateful to everybody, and I really appreciate everybody, and I let everybody know that. And then life gets in the way again. A few months go by and that kind of fades away, and you begin getting caught up in all the bullshit stuff that doesn't matter again. And it's not until you get hit with some more grief where you go, oh, wait a minute, now I remember. So it's a daily practice of that, I think, that's important, in terms of that's what I'm trying to be mindful of now. You know, particularly with this job in Canada, by going, this means so much, but at the same time, you've got to realize that it doesn't really, you know, it can't mean that much, because it's not, you know, either way, it's not a life or death thing. We've just got to be so grateful to be here and around the people that matter. I spent a lot of time with my mum this weekend, and it was lovely just to, you know, don't get time to do that a lot. And I'm just like, actually, you know what, this is what's important. So, Yeah, never forget that. Gary's here. All right, Gary, hope you're good. 2 more comments, and I'm going to go, guys. Ollie says, I've a London agent, been with her since 2011. Never seen for work in Manchester. Okay. And auditions are sporadic. I like her. She's lovely, but pretty old school, and loads of assistants have come and gone over the past 2 years. Now, another agent is leaving. Feel like something is up, and it might be time for me to move. But it's such a bloody minefield. Welcome to the club, Ollie. So you're the other way around, mate. You're down south looking for some more opportunity in the north. I'm in the north looking for more opportunity in the south. We'll just swap. Maybe we should just swap. It's part of the game, though, mate. Like, I'm just trying to enjoy the game and the process and going, actually, you know what? This is just a time of transition, and it's all done on really good grounds. My current agent is still amazing, still looking after me during this transitional period. And it's exciting. You know, you've got to let the excitement of the new, you got to make it louder in your head than the fear of the old and what you're losing or the instability or something like that. You know, if you make the excitement of it working out for you way louder than the fear of it not, you'll win. It's when it's the other way around, and that's how it is for a lot of other people. They make the fear of the what if it doesn't work out way louder than the excitement of what if it does, and thus they get paralyzed and just stay where they are. And I think that keeps a lot of actors stuck on the spot for 2 or 3 years till they hit rock bottom, and then they go, right, enough's enough, and then they start taking some action. They call it a crazy 8. So if you imagine, you know, you're at the top here and you're going, right, okay, I'm slipping down, now hit rock bottom. I take some action, I come back up, and I'm back up, and now I get comfortable again, and then I go down, hit rock bottom, come back up. So it's like an infinity sign on it, well, a figure of 8 on its side, and people end up just staying in this crazy 8 over and over again because they don't take enough momentum to keep them, you know, going upwards. They just, it's a bit like going, right, I'm overweight, so I'm going to go and buy some gym kit and join the gym. And the process of buying the gym kit and joining the gym makes you feel good enough to not go to the gym. Because like, I'm taking action, it's fine. And then before you know it, you put on weight. It's a bit like that. You've got to keep taking that action to stay motivated and keep that, momentum going. So cross-legged in the middle of home, giving out advice surrounded by disciples. That's wrong. Cheers, Steve. That's a bit like our monthly meetups. Barbara, I've never read a comment from you before. The saying "God never gives you more than you can handle" is wrong. Never said it. Oh, this is a bit. It's getting all religious. I don't do religion, Barbara. It's very. It's a hot potato. It's provocative. Never said it in the Bible though. It says if He gave you bad stuff and you handled, He'd give you more bad stuff to handle. He's not like that. He'd just be giving you more and more. I lost a child when I was 20 and haven't handled, so I've gotten no more to handle. Oh God, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm really sorry to hear about what happened, Barbara. Though that's tragic. That's what I mean. And there is tragedy like that in the world. Where I'm like, oh God, I don't know what the reason for that is. We just don't know, do we? I think sometimes things. Our minds as human beings maybe aren't designed to comprehend some certain things that that go on in the world. But yeah, sorry to hear that. Andrew says no set time for grief, no such thing as time. If you're hurt by someone passing, it just shows how lucky you were to have loved them. Yeah, absolutely. And they were in your life. It was awesome. With that, guys, thank you so much for being here for a start. Like, really means the world to me that you're still here at this time of night. It's 10:15. Tony says, appreciate you, Ross. Your videos and blogs are often a great midday pickup. Thanks, Tony. Inspires me loads. I want to finish. We've been talking about Eric. I want to finish just with a little video of Eric that he put out a few years ago. I think we did this after an acting class. It's a little spoof. Remember when people used to do these dating videos back in the day, before Tinder, before Bumble existed and we could do online dating? People would record videotapes of themselves, looking for love. Eric recorded one as a bit of a laugh and he edited it. I found it on his website before. I thought, I'm going to play that out tonight. There's an incredible smile at the end of this video that I always remember about Eric. Hugely warm smile, really infectious. Absolutely amazing guy, and I'll leave you with this, guys. Only a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for being here. If I can do anything for you, please let me know. ross@actonthis.tv. Hit me up on Twitter, Ross A. Grant, or @actonthistv. I'll see all you lot at the social media deep dive next week, but I'll do a live broadcast before that. Anyway, we've got live broadcast next Monday, haven't we? So I'll see you next Monday, 9 p.m. If I do anything for you in the meantime, let me know. And fingers crossed for this Canada thing. But this is Eric. Watch this. This I remember him. Awesome bloody guy. Bye for now.
Oh, is it this here? Is it this? Do I stand here?
Can you get to your mouth, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, my name's David. You must probably think I do this all the time, but I don't, honest. You see, my wife left me after 35 years of marriage. Bloody terrible. She run off with the gardener. Gardeners are a bugger to find. You see, when you've been married for so long. Now for my interests. I like going for long walks with the dog. And by the way, if you want to meet up, my number's 07811 200 133. And by the way, Morris, if you're watching this, I've moved on. All right.